Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Voice. In the previous episode, we have been discussing about the Test cricket staying alive in this interesting Ashes series. This historic cricket rivalry between England and Australia had captured the imagination of the fans worldwide. And we are here to provide you with a concise overview of the key highlights and the developments from the series so far. Let's go ahead with the series background. The Ashes series contested between England and Australia is one of the cricket's most prestigious and fiercely competitive tournaments. It dates back to 1882 when Australia secured its first ever test victory on English soil, and both the teams will play alternatively in both the countries, and the series is battled out in 5 test matches to claim the coveted run. England, led by the captain Joe Root, aimed to defend their home turf and secure a victory against their arch rivals. On the other hand, Australia, captained by Pat Cummins, were determined to break the away jinx and clinch a victory on the English soil after a considerable break. As the Ashes series unfolds, the rivalry between England and Australia continues to produce thrilling cricketing encounters. Both the teams showcase their strength and determination. And now the upcoming test match promise more intense battles that will captivate the cricketing world. Australia won first 2 test matches, and the third one, it is very clear England had won the match. After that, for the 4th test match, both the teams went to World Trafford, Australia having 2-1 in the Ashes series. So after that 4th test match, whatever happened, let's have a detailed discussion with Mr. Seshadri Srinivasan in that interesting match. Hi Srini, please give your insights on the 4th test match.
Hello. After winning the Headingley Test, the Ashes series has gained a lot more of excitement than what it was in the beginning of the series. As far as England is concerned, the momentum is in their favor, and they had to win Old Trafford as well as the Oval Test matches to regain the Ashes. The Ashes are at the moment with Australia. So for Australia, it is enough if they can draw one of the matches, and even if they are going to lose another match, still they will be able to retain the Ashes. That is where the whole situation remains before the commencement of the Old Trafford Test. But another thing which was hanging on the minds of particularly the England team was that the weather forecast, which was not all that encouraging for the later days of the Old Trafford Test match.
Srini, can you make us through what happened on day 1 and your views on the outcome?
England made one change in their squad. Jimmy Anderson came in place of Ollie Robinson. Australia made 2 changes, and they brought in Josh Hazlewood in place of Boland, and also Cam Green was fit, so he got into the team and in place of Todd Murphy. So apparently Australia wanted to strengthen the pace attack, and England won the toss for the 4th consecutive time, and now they decided to bowl first on a good track. In fact, it was a good batting track, but the team obviously had very clear confidence that they will be able to chase the target in the 4th innings. That is how they started to bowl fast, and the bowlers did a good job. But as far as Australian batsmen were concerned, they had a good start, but there was no good partnership to go for a big total. At the end of the day, they lost 8 wickets for 299 runs. And there was no big partnership, as I said. And as far as the bowlers are concerned, they maintained a good line and length on a good track. And Chris Woakes, who has been in and out of the test squad because of battery of pacers in the team, and he managed to take 4 good wickets. And importantly, the day 1 saw Stuart Broad taking his 600th test wicket, which is a great record. So end of the day, it was 299 for 8. It was difficult to say who had an edge on day 1 and who had the honours on the day 1. But a little bit was in favour of England because they had managed to take 8 wickets on a good track, and they have the baseball approach whereby probably they can take control of the match.
Oh, that's interesting. How did the day 2 go?
Clearly belonged to England because they managed to wrap up the tail of Australia, and they were all out for 317. Chris Woakes got a fifer, which is a great thing. And then when England started batting, they had a very clear intention to go for runs. And then we saw an aggressive batting by Jacques Crowley, who demonstrated his capability. And then everybody knew that he had a high potential, but more often than not, he was not fully realizing his potential. He was capable of scoring more centuries than what you actually see on record. So in this particular match, he scored 189 of 182 balls in a test match cricket. That showed his aggression, confidence and skill sets. All were authentic shots and classic drives and all parts of the ground. Absolutely, he was in full command and took the bowling to the opposition. And also he had a good support from Joe Root, who scored 84, and Moeen Ali a 51. And the way Joe Root got out, that would have brightened the eyes of the English bowlers, because the ball was keeping so low. Joe Root was not able to bring the bat down, and the wickets were crashed. So that was an indication of a possibly a 2-pace track and 2-bounce track as well. That is how it ended, but the England batters stuck to their task. In fact, the day saw more than 400 runs scored. And at the end of day 2, apparently England was in a good position, scoring at 374 for 4 and looking forward to scoring more runs.
Day 2 dominated by England batters. Srini, what more they need to do to make sure to win this test?
On day 3, England stuck to their task, and they had a huge total of 592, and which gave a huge lead in the first innings. And next their aim was to make sure that they get an early wicket before the end of the day's play. So because on the back of their mind again, they were also thinking of rain interruptions. So Johnny Bairstow scored 99, not out. Unfortunately, he missed the century by 1 run. In fact, the last wicket, it was Jimmy Anderson who got out, and obviously his chance of getting the century was washed out. But definitely the good lead gave a huge advantage for England. And when Australia came on to bat, definitely they were under pressure. And at the close of the day's play, they were down with 4 wickets. So apparently day 3 belonged to England, and they would have gone back with a happy frame of mind. At the commencement of day 4, Australia were 113 for 4, the overnight score. And they had a stiff challenge on hand because they were still 162 runs behind the first innings score of England. So apparently the pressure was on the 2 batters, the overnight batters, that was the Marnus Labuschagne and Mitchell Marsh. Both of them were settling down very well, and Australia had a lot of hopes on them because they had to play a big innings to save the match. That is the scenario they were in, and they did the job very well. In fact, Labuschagne scored a brilliant century and got out at 111, got behind of Joe Root. In fact, he had a couple of good sixes against Joe Root, but then Joe Root had the last laugh ultimately. So with the 5 wickets falling, the pressure again was on Australia. But fortunately, there was a lot of rain interruption. In fact, the morning session was completely wiped out because of the rain. And during the day, the team managed to score 101 runs, which meant that the Australians were still 61 runs behind with the whole day to bat on the following day, that is the 5th day of the match. That is where a sort of a very, very challenging situation they were in, and definitely the first session rain, also took away 2 hours of the match. But Australia could only hope for rain interruption to save them, because the way the England were attacking and with half the team back in the pavilion for Australia, the pressure was totally on them at the end of the day's play.
Despite of rain, England had dominated on the 4th day, as you said. And what are your opinions and what you noticed on the 5th day?
Australia were trailing by 61 runs, and they had to score that plus something to make England bat again. That is the scenario they were in. But fortunately for Australia, the final day's play was completely washed out due to rain. But nevertheless, the series has been pretty interesting. And also we saw some important landmarks. Stuart Broad had captured his 600th test wicket, and we saw very good innings of 189 by Jacques Crowley of 182 deliveries. Chris Woakes took a 5-for in the first innings, and then Johnny Bairstow was a bit unlucky to remain unbeaten at 99, and Hazelwood took another 5-for. So the overall, when we looked at it, when the first 4 wickets had fallen in the second innings of Australia, we found that Mark Wood had taken 3 of those important wickets. And of course, on the 4th day, a wonderful century from Marnus Labuschagne and a good partnership with Mitchell Marsh put them in a sort of comparatively less challenging position. And of course, that was not good enough. They had a long way to go to save the match. But then fortunately, the rain completely washed out the final day's play, and Australia are retaining the Ashes. And nevertheless, England will have fond memories of coming up very greatly in this particular series, and spectators really enjoyed all the matches. And when the teams go on to the Oval for the final test, it will still be an exciting match for the fact that England will be playing very hard to at least to level the series, even though they have not managed to regain the Ashes from Australia. But one thing is certain, we were talking in the other edition about the Test cricket and the limited overs, which has come to stay a big way. And Test cricket, we are also saying that it has become pretty exciting and is been here to stay alive, which we have seen in this particular series. We are also talking about rain interruptions, which could do a spoiled sport. That's what exactly happened in this 4th test at Old Trafford. Anyway, that's cricket. That's Test cricket.
So, this is all for the day. Thank you, Srini, and as well, you all stay tuned as we bring you further updates and analysis on this gripping contest between these two cricketing powerhouses. Bye.